there, KBFers. Hope you're having an awesome spring, and welcome to part 2 of my 3-part spawning series. Now we're going to sum this all up at the end with a phases of the spawn video. So last time I was here, I caught a monster bass, my first double-digit bass of 2016, on a spinnerbait in a staging area. So of course, when I show back up this week, the first thing I did is another milk run to all the staging areas to find out if there's any big fish there. After not finding any big fish in the staging areas, I decided it was time to head to the back of the creeks to see if the big girls had moved shallow. It's big girl time. You can smell it in the air. Kind of like back in the days of The Rock before he was Dwayne Johnson. It was that. Can you smell it? Yeah. What The Rock's been cooking right now. I can smell it. I can smell something cooking. Did you ream that hole out pretty good back there?
Yeah. There was nothing back there.
Did you fish the lizard too?
I did.
I can't see him anymore, but swam in by that log. Oh, dude. Get out of the kayak right there. All right, so you see how our shadow's going out? It means we need to get back a look. Look at that. There's something that just moved off the bank. But if your shadow goes out across where you're trying to find the fish, you're screwed. Yeah, you'll spook them. And so the same thing with the rods. A lot of people don't think about it. You hold that rod tip up. You see how far that shadow goes out? So you want to hold your rods level. Yeah, that slightest little thing that they're not used to or that's not normal will set them off. I let the wind blow me back into this pocket. It's one of the known spawning pockets. It's actually the spawning pocket inside the point that I caught the big fish on a week ago. And as the wind blew me in, I just didn't paddle, let the wind blow me in. And in the back of this pocket, I see a big bed with a huge female on it. And so I let the wind blow me onto the bank, hopped out, came up and around. Now I've got the right sun. I don't have the sun, you know, as in my back as much because the trees kind of block it out. I'm gonna sit here and watch her for a minute, kind of see what her body language is. If she's stagnant, she's not moving her gill plates and fluttering her pec fins, she's probably not that agreeable to eating. But if she is, and she's kind of what I call sharking, swimming around, establishing a perimeter, you can probably put a lizard, a tube, a crawfish bait or something in there and get her to eat it. So we're just gonna watch for a minute, kind of check it out, and then I'm gonna kind of figure out which way I want to approach this. Probably make a long cast and drag the bait in, but man, she is right there. You can see her silver-sided. See her side right there, shining in the sun? Oh my gosh. Oh, there went one. Oh my gosh. That is a freaking giant. There are 4 bass in here, easily over 10 pounds. They're sharking around. One just busted up in the shallow water. One just looked at my lizard. The biggest mistake you can make right here is rushing this thing. When they're ready, they'll be ready. But right now, they're just kind of hanging around, swimming around. You want to get that bait in there repeatedly, but not very intrusive. So I'm swimming the bait into the hole, and I'm just gonna let it sit there. So it's on the bed right now. Now the buck's coming in. He's looking at it. He's looking at it. He's looking at it. And the female's just off to the side. Yeah, he ate it. Oh, he spit it out. Dang it. I should have had some scent on it. All right, so one of them is gonna eat it in a minute. But if you just keep sitting here kind of twitching it through there, you may get a bite. I'm gonna run to the boat and get a crawfish bait.
Got it. Got him.
Get him out of there. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. Pull, 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 pull. Yeah. Good. Don't break the rod. And there's times that I've caught flack about this technique. But in no case is that any worse than taking a fish and putting it in the live well to go weigh it in for a tournament. So what we've done is we've caught the buck. The buck is always going to be the first one to eat. He's always going to be the first one to protect the bed. Now that we've got him staged over here on the lip gripper in the water, he's good to go. We're going to go back and catch one of these big females. So what you're looking for when these fish are working the bed is the big female generally just kind of hangs off and lets the buck protect the bed. When that female starts to get agitated, she'll speed up her pec fins, her gills will start flaring a little bit more, and then they'll swim over. And they do this kind of sharking thing where they do these quick turns, trying to spook whatever it is off. And then they'll come back. But what you're looking for is when the pec fins speed up and they pitch down. When they pitch down, sometimes they even back up and then they hammer it. So you're watching for that body language to determine what your presentation is. Now, if they're swimming around aggressive and they're chasing stuff and coming back, you can throw anything in there. But when they're kind of locked down like this and they're not really aggressive, you kind of got to play a staring game. It's almost like who blinks first. And so what I generally do is throw a bait out past it, let it flutter down and twitch it up in the water column and let it glide into the bed. Then I let it sit there. And instead of moving it with the rod tip or raising my line up to where the wind pulls it off the bed, I'll generally just kind of move it with my fingers so I can move it just a tiny bit at a time and crawl it through the bed. And they flat can't stand it. And so they're starting to get irritated now. This female is kind of sharking around. The bigger female has moved off to the side. Got 2 fish here over 10 pounds, or at least they look like it. I mean, they could be 9, but they're big fish and they're up on the bed and they're ready. And I'm ready for them to be ready to eat my lure. You know, and the biggest thing about this type of fishing is patience. And, you know, you can force it and sometimes you can get them to bite. But if you be patient and you take your time and you just keep incrementally getting them a little more interested, varying up your presentation, throwing in different lures, you'll eventually get them to eat. He's looking at it. He's nose down on it. Here she comes. Oh yeah. It was just a change of a lure. I threw it down in there and she gobbled it. Look at that. I dropped that bait in there and she gobbled it. Right in the top of the nose. Look at that. Right in the top of the nose. So, baby, that's what it's all about. Okay, let me show you what I got this fish on, and then we're gonna try to get another one. So basically what I did is I used this little offset bait hook, and I put it through just the tip of the bait, and then I can cover the bait with crawfish scent and pitch it out there and let it fall. And sometimes I put a segmented lead nail in the back to make it fall with the hook up. Sometimes just let it free fall. This culprit water beetle is a little heavier, so it falls really well. And I pitched this past the bed. It was falling down. It didn't even hit the bottom, and she ate it. Now, we've thrown everything but the kitchen sink up until that point, and they wouldn't even look at it. Let it sit in the bed. This one cast, it's falling down. It's doing a sort of a spiral. Gets in front of her face, sucks it in, boom. 8-pounder. I mean, who doesn't do this? Like, I know if you're watching the show you do this, but like, how could you not do this? Like, I don't. Oh, she's coming. So I've been throwing all this white stuff, and the first cast is something black in there. That other fish gobbled it. This one got this fish's attention. Now it's sitting on the bed. And I'm gonna go back to doing what I was doing, just barely move it with the line instead of with the rod. And let's see if she doesn't get perturbed and come in there and pounce on it. You know, I would have kind of expected that other female would be back by now. Generally, even if you traumatize them, they're back in a minute. So what I did is I got the other guys to clear out, and I'm rigging what I call a flip shot setup. I got the weight on the bottom. I got the hook, skin. She's already mouthed it once, so I added a little scent because what she's doing when she's mouthing it, she's actually smelling it. She's breathing in so she can smell it. She's right on the bed. She's agitated. I'm gonna throw the lure past her, bring it in, put it in her face, and she's gonna eat it. Okay, she kind of took off because I hit her with the line. She's coming back around, and she will probably eat this thing right now. Here she comes. Yes! 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 Look at that freaking fatty. Let me show you exactly what I did here. Same thing, except I put the weight at the bottom so I could hold it in place and jiggle it in her face and make her freaking eat it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to catch big bass, you've got to commit to catching big bass. Forego numbers and focus on big freaking bass like that right there. And it doesn't matter if you go to a trophy bass fishery, if you go to somewhere where they grow them, it's fishing. And that's the difference between being committed to catching that fish and giving up on it and leaving and staying the course. And figuring out what you've got to do to get them to eat. Oh, look at that. All right, so we're gonna get this big girl back in the water to do what she's in here to do, and that's to make more of her. Ah, pretty fish. Look at that color. Listen, this has been part 2 of my tow trip series on the spawn, and that is the actual spawn when they're on the beds, the bedding part of the spawn. So we're gonna do the part with the post spawn next week, and we've already done the pre-spawn. And the cool thing about it is I'm gonna tie this all together in a video at the end with the phases of the spawn to kind of walk you through how that progresses. And if the fish have already bedded and they've already spawned where you're at and these things aren't relevant, then definitely earmark this video and review it year after year after year as you're moving in to this part of the year. So hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you learned something, if you like the big fish action, if you like to see the toads that we caught on video. As always, comment below and please subscribe to Kayak Bassin TV.